Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we were diving into a story that sounds like it is straight out of a fantasy novel, but it's completely true. We're talking about the Vikings, those legendary Norse seafarers, and their incredible journey across the Atlantic, long before Columbus ever set sail. Forget what you think you know from movies and TV shows. This is the real story of how Vikings became the first Europeans to land in North America. Our story begins around the year 1000 AD. The main character? A man named Leif Erikson. Leif was the son of the famous Eric the Red, the guy who founded the first Norse settlement in Greenland. Growing up in a world of ice and sea, Leif was no stranger to adventure. The sagas, which are these amazing old Norse stories, tell us that Leif heard tales of a new land to the west. A merchant named Bjarni Herjolfsson had been blown off course years earlier and spotted a mysterious coastline covered in trees. But he never landed. That story stuck with Leif. He was curious, ambitious, and probably a little bit bored in Greenland. So he bought Bjarni's ship, gathered a crew of about 35 hardy men, and decided to see this new world for himself. He set off, retracing Bjarni's route, but in reverse. First, he came across a barren, rocky land he named Helluland, meaning land of flat stones. This is widely believed to be modern-day Baffin Island in Canada. It wasn't very inviting, so they didn't stay long. They sailed south and found another land. This one was flat and forested. Leif called it Markland, or Forest Land. Today we think this was likely the coast of Labrador. It was better than Helluland, but still not exactly what he was looking for. Leif and his crew pressed on, driven by the promise of something more, and then they found it. After 2 more days at sea, they landed in a place that was beyond their wildest dreams. The climate was mild, the rivers were teeming with salmon bigger than any they had ever seen, and there were lush meadows perfect for grazing cattle. Most importantly, there were wild grapes growing everywhere, which was a huge deal for people from a land where grapes couldn't grow. In his excitement, Leif named this new paradise Vinland, or Wineland. They decided to stay for the winter. They built a small settlement, a few longhouses made of turf and timber, a place to call home in this strange new world. Imagine that for a second. A handful of Norsemen 500 years before Columbus living on the coast of North America. It's absolutely mind-blowing. They explored the surrounding area, gathered resources, and prepared for the journey back to Greenland. When spring came, Leif and his crew loaded their ship with timber and grapes and sailed home. His stories of Vinland caused a huge stir in Greenland. Who wouldn't want to go to a land of wine and endless timber? Several other voyages followed. Leif's brother Thorvald led an expedition but tragically became the first European to be killed in North America during a skirmish with the native people, whom the Norse called Skraelings. For a long time, this incredible story was just that, a story preserved only in the Icelandic sagas. Many historians thought it was just a myth. But then, in the 1960s, something amazing happened. A husband and wife team of archaeologists, Helgi and Ann Stein Ingstad, made a discovery that changed history forever. At the very northern tip of Newfoundland, Canada, at a place called Meadows, they unearthed the remains of a Norse settlement. They found turf walls exactly matching the descriptions of Norse buildings. They found iron nails, a spindle whorl for making yarn, and a smithy for working iron, all definitive proof of a Viking presence. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the site was from around the year 1000 AD, a perfect match for the time of Leif Erikson's voyage. Meadows is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the only authenticated Norse site in all of North America. It's the physical proof that the legends were true. So why didn't the Vikings stay? The settlements in Vinland only lasted for a few years. The sagas suggest that conflicts with the native population were a major reason. The Norse were also thousands of miles from home, vastly outnumbered, and their supply lines were stretched to the breaking point. Ultimately, the dream of a permanent settlement in Vinland faded, and the Vikings retreated back to Greenland and Iceland, leaving their short-lived American chapter to become a legend. So there you have it, the incredible true story of the Vikings in America, a tale of bravery, discovery, and a clash of worlds that happened centuries before what we're usually taught in school. What do you think is the most fascinating part of this story? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing stories from history. See you next time.